Berachot Perek Mishnah Gimel. We'll continue our learning in memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Okay, then we're going to continue our discussion, these Mishnayot, a series of machlokot between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, about certain halachot regarding the meal. So, a little visual aid here, okay? They had, in their times, they had a table that they would eat at, and they were leaning on the probably leaning on the couch back here. And there was a keset, there was a pillow that was on the couch. Okay? So the Gemara says, so the Mishnah talks about when they would have their meal, they would eat with their hands. And then in the middle of the meal, then they would wipe off their hands with like a moist towelette, like the ladies give you on El Al when they come around, they wake you up. Okay, they give you a moist towelette, you wash off. So when you're done with the moist towelette, where would you put it? Okay? What would be better? So I'm going to recall, we learned last Mishnah, okay? We learned last Mishnah that yadayim, that hands are sheni l'tuma. And that water, mashkim, can take something that's a sheni and bring it back to be a rishon. That liquid is always dangerous when it comes to tumah. We're always very careful about tumah. Okay? So if that's the case, you have a situation here where we're a little bit concerned about what will happen if something gets wet. Okay? So the Mishnah says the following. Beit Shammai Omrim. Beit Shammai says, Mekaneach ed yadav b'mapa. Okay, in other versions say, hey, he wipes his hands b'mapa with his towel. Umenicha al shulchan. You put it on the table. Okay, so you wipe your hands. You're done. Your hands are all messy and disgusting. You wipe yourself off. You wipe them and you stick it on the table. Ubeit Hillel omrim ala keset. Beit Hillel says, no, you don't put it on the table. You put it on the keset, on this little cushion. You don't put it on the table. What in the world is this machloket about? So the Kahati explains that their machloket is, was the table perhaps a sheni l'tum'ah? Is someone permitted to eat at a table where there's a sheni l'tum'ah? Beit Shammai says you're not allowed to eat at a table that's a sheni l'tum'ah. And Beit Hillel says you are allowed to eat at a table that's sheni l'tum'ah. So let's understand what's going on. Okay? If the table is a sheni l'tum'ah, according to Beit Shammai, you're not allowed to eat at a sheni l'tum'ah. So the table, by definition, is tahor. So when I wipe my hands now, the table is now all wet. The towel is all wet. I put it on the table. The wetness of the towel is going to touch the table. But that's not a problem because the table is tahor. We're not worried about it at all, and therefore you put it on the table. But if I put it on the keset, like Beit Hillel suggests, then what would happen is the keset is possibly tameh. There's a whole category of tumah called tumat moshav. It's very possible that the keset that you're sitting on is some kind of tumah, and that the wetness inside the towel will touch the tameh pillow, and then make my hands tameh, and then all bets are off. We're in big trouble because we're trying to eat bread. We're in the middle of a meal. Okay? On the other hand, Beit Hillel said you are allowed to use a table that's sheni l'tumah. Kohanim were very careful. They wouldn't eat on just any table. They would make sure that the table they're eating at is not sheni l'tumah, not tameh at all when they took out their truma. They were very meticulous. So a normal person, a regular person, it was mutar. You are allowed to eat at a table that's sheni l'tumah. Now let's figure this out. If the table is sheni l'tumah, and I wipe my hands on my towel, and I stick it down on this table, that the wetness on the table wetness in the towel could then touch the tumah of the table, make it a rishon l'tumah, and then make that food that it touches tameh again. Because remember, rishon l'tumah, let's go back to our chart from before, rishon l'tumah can make ochlin umashkim, food and drink, a sheni l'tumah. So since Beit Hillel says you are allowed to eat at a table that's a sheni l'tumah, therefore, never put your wet, moist towelette down on your table. Rather, put it on your keset, put it down on your pillow. And what happens if the keset makes the water in the thing in the middle of your towel tameh? That's only yadayim. You're only worried about yadayim, and yadayim is gezerah d'Rabbanan. But God forbid, if you would put it down on your sheni l'tumah table, and then the water in the napkin would become tameh and make your ochel tameh, that's a tumah d'oraita. So in order to do that, Beit Hillel says, no, put it on the keset, put it on the pillow, and don't put it on the shulchan. And of course we all know, because everybody does this all the time, we're very well aware, we pass in like Beit Hillel in this case. Actually, we don't know, but it's important to know. And again, for me, this highlights just the super awareness that you had to have in the times of Beit HaMikdash, when everyone was knowing, everyone was careful about tumah and tahara. So, like, I'm sure they just got used to it. It became second nature. Just like, we're used to what you can eat together, and the fish, and the bread, and the whatever. We just second nature. But it's just a whole nother level of awareness of second nature that they had to have when they were eating their meals. If you have any comments or questions, as always, ourspolter@gmail.com. Have a great day.